Hi, I'm back. So I'm going to go over some troubleshooting, some tips and tricks for when you're making your own jump rings. I didn't want the last video to end up too long, so I kind of cut it into two parts. Alright, so once you have your coil of jump rings here, you need to cut them apart some way. And I know in the video that I showed you using the jeweler saw, and I also know that you're probably saying, can't there be an easier way to cut those? The answer is yes, a Pepe jump ring making tool. And the answer is no, you cannot just use a pair of wire cutters. When you use a pair of wire cutters, even if they're flush cut wire cutters, one side of your jump ring is going to be pinched in, and you're not going to get a nice closed jump ring. And if you're not going to go for quality, don't even do it at all. Just buy them. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show a little bit of a closer up video of me cutting the jump ring. Because what I was saying is you have to cut it at an angle. So you want your saw blade to be about like this. So you're only going to be cutting through one, and then when you're almost done through cutting that one, you'll start cutting into the next one. You don't want to cut across like this. It's just going to hang up. It's going to want to go crooked. You're going to get little jagged cuts. Just trust me on this. You want to cut it like this. You also don't want to cut it like this because you're going to be cutting through both the top and the bottom of your jump rings. And you just want to cut through the top to have a round jump ring. Now, also when you go to cut your jump rings, you might want to lubricate your saw blade a little bit. And you can use, I don't have one here sitting on my desk, but you can use a cake of beeswax, put a little bit on the edge here, use something like Burr Life to help it cut through your jump rings and not hang up. The other thing, like I was saying, is you want to make sure you have the right size saw blade for the gauge of your jump rings that you're using. And then the other question you might ask is, do I really need a ring clamp? Can't I just like kind of hold it? Yes and no. I have done it that way. It's horrible. It's a pain in the butt. Your hand cramps up and you swear you're never going to make another jump ring in your life. So just invest in a ring clamp. It'll make so many things so much easier if you just go ahead and get that ring clamp. Alright, so I'm going to recenter the video so you can get a really good close-up view of me actually cutting those jump rings. And hopefully that'll answer any of your questions. If it doesn't, go ahead and ask them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Alright, let me get reset up. Okay, so I'm all set up here. Now, you can see when I saw, I'm going to kind of have my blade at an angle like this. If I do it two up like this, I'll start cutting into the bottom of that jump ring. So you want to make sure you tilt it up. So if you need to, as you go, start tilting it up further, you can. Or I would stop and take out the cut jump rings and scooch the coil, further up, so that you're not cutting into the bottom of these jump rings here. I'm going to go ahead and get set up here. Alright. Sorry if the video's a little shaky. Keep hitting it with my saw frame. Alright. And I am using the heavier gauge jump rings than the last video, so you can see a little better. You can see how this one fell down here after I cut it through. Whoops, now it's on the floor. I usually have a tray on my lap so that I can cut any jump rings that fall. Alright, so see, I'm almost through that second jump ring. And I'm going to start cutting into that third one. Keep an eye on, like I said, the angle here so that you're not cutting into the bottom. Make sure you tilt it up enough that you're not cutting into the bottom there. Alright. You want to try and stay centered in your jump rings in that space as far as cutting it. If you start going off at a little bit of an angle and get closer to one side or the other of your ring clamp, it's okay. Just try and stay centered as best you can. Alright. Now I'm getting to the point that if I continue cutting without taking the jump rings I've already cut through off, I'm going to be cutting through the bottom of those jump rings. So I'm going to go ahead and back my saw blade out. Now we're out of focus for some reason. Oop. And I'm going to remove the ring clamp and watch. Oh, see? There are my cut jump rings right there. Now I'm going to set those aside and push this coil up higher again. Now you can see, oops, that there's this cut in here. It's already cut through C2 and almost started on this third one, and it's not all the way cut through. Now, if I give it a little bit of a wiggle, see, this one popped out. So this one, see, was practically cut all the way through. I've cut through this second one. It's almost all the way cut through, and I'm working on this third one. Alright? So then all you would do is go ahead and set it back up into your ring clamp. Replace the wedge. And continue sawing until you have as many jump rings as you need for your project. Alright, well that's it.